Alright everyone, moving on to our next example. Again, we have another ring. What we want to accomplish in this example would be setting some patterns on the lateral faces of a ring, you can say. So back to Rhino, again we can start with setting a circle in the front view. A circle with these dimensions. Then we have a couple of ways to go with here to continue our work. For example, we can use extrude curve first, and then we can use offset surface. Or another thing that we can do here is to use a rectangle to create some sort of a section on the quad of the circle. And by the way, the rectangle actually has round or curve corners. Now, as you know, sweep 1 activated. Select the path and also the sections to create something like this. Okay, let me try to do this better. Again, a rectangle, curve corners. I'm going to set the rectangle here on this line to specify the section. Now again, sweep 1 activated. Yeah, this is somehow better. Now zoom extend. We need to work on the edges to create some smoothness in them. Guess 0.5 will suffice, or 0.15. And the fillet should actually be applied on all of the edges. So select all of the edges and fillet. Here we go. Now we can go to the front view, or even we can work in the perspective view here. C-plane activated. Then after that, we need to select text object. I'm going to type down a letter here, for example, D. And by the way, we have different fonts here that you can select. I mean, for example, I might go with this one. Yeah, this might be good. Let's see. Yeah, this will do. Now we can use this font to type down some letters, characters, numbers, whatever we want to. Then after we're done, we can transfer whatever we have typed down to our workspace. But of course, we need to reduce the scale here. I mean, the size is too large. And maybe a rotation by 90 degrees. Now we can transfer our writing to the lateral, you can say, faces of our ring. Okay, now select the pattern here. Enter the front view. Here we go. Let's see if it is the best place for it. Yeah, we can use polar array based on the center point. I'm sorry. Now we can reproduce this, let's say 14 times by 360 degrees. Alright, now cell last. Hold the shift key as well. And then press Ctrl G to create a group. Alright guys, now we can use the extrude curve command, which is one of the most useful commands that we have in the software. Both sides. We can add a little bit of thickness to this, and we would have a volumized object. Now we can select Ctrl G, select the ring and Boolean difference, and then select the objects. And as you can see, the patterns would be cut out of our ring just like this. So as you can see, it was a little bit different from what we have done so far, but still it was quite easy. Alright, as our next step, we can use another rectangle here. In the top view, we can move it upwards for further checking. For example, to here. Then back to the front view again, and use polar array to reproduce this 22 times by 360 degrees. Again, select and Control G. Again, in perspective mode, hold Alt and Shift, change up the scale, hold Control as well, select again, cap, close down the openings, and Control G. Now Boolean difference to cut the group out of our ring. And as you already know, finally we can add the material and we would be all done with our model. We can use cell curve now to remove the extra parts to complete our form even further. Alright guys, now that we are done with our model, we can again move this into our O5 layer and turn the layer off. And then we can move on to the next example. The next model would be for this ring that you can see in the image. Well, I guess this is not a ring. In fact, it's a bracelet. You can say it's a helix-shaped bracelet. So to work on it, in the same perspective view here, I'm going to select helix and try to set a vertical helix in my workspace. So from the center point, for the dimensions, I'm going to go with maybe 0.15, I guess will do. Let's see. Starting from the center point. And I'm going to move it up by maybe 5 units. And for the turns, I'm going to go with 3. We can specify the diameter as well. For example, 60 millimeters. Let's see. Or 50. The height here does not really matter because we want to use project to C plane, in fact, to set this helix bracelet on the, what you can say, on the ground or on our workspace. Helix again, round curve, and this time for the turns, I'm gonna go with fairly a large number, like maybe 50. Let's see. Now what we need to do here is to specify a number like this 50 for number point per turn. Well, maybe even something larger than 50. And for the diameter, we need something smaller than the previous one. For example, 3. Yeah, the last one was 60. This one would be 3. And this would be the preliminary sketch of our bracelet. Okay. Now we can select our sketch, pipe activated. I'm gonna set this maybe on 2. Let's see if it works or not. Yeah, it kind of works actually. Let's see what else we can do. Well, for one thing, as you already know, we can go ahead and add a specific material to our model and check it. I mean, before we check it in rendering. Okay, let me move this bracelet out of our workspace and try to create the same object using another way, another method. Let me just check my schedule again before we jump into anything. Well, you know, I guess we can actually go about this from another way. Yeah, let's go ahead and try another way. I'm gonna set my line here. Okay. And then after that, I'm gonna select helix again. Round curve. And then this time I'm gonna reduce my turn number. For example, I'm gonna set it on 25. For the diameter, I'm going to go with something like 6. And after that, I'm just going to click here. Round curve. Select the line. Okay, turn on 25. And we got radius here, so I'm going to go with 3 instead of 6 for the diameter. Okay, now select again, round curve, select, reverse on yes, and radius on 3. Now select the first line, pipe, 1.5. Okay, now the second line, pipe, and also 1.5. Now set a material here, and then maybe separate material, for example, titanium, and then set it for this one. And this would be the end result form. And maybe we can actually reduce the size a bit more. And this way, it would be more appealing, I guess. So this is how we can create models for such bracelets or rings. Now again, O5 layer activated. Set these two models in the layer as well. And before turning the layer off again, let's check all the models in rendering mode. As you can see, we have 2 bracelets and also several types of rings. Yeah, so basically, as you can see, we have successfully created such models up to this point of our course. I guess this would be enough for this session. Don't forget to practice everything and try to create your own models. Yeah, that was it. See you all in the next session, guys.